Good morning, good afternoon, depending if you are on the West Coast and the East Coast. It is so nice to see so many people all with their cameras turned on. I don't know why, but this gets me really excited. So look, this is our first call and we're going to kick things off. So I want to share a quick story with you. And in my cultures, my parents raised me, when it's raining, it's a sign of, if it's the beginning and it rains, it's a sign of something good. So as I was leaving the gym this morning, it was pouring raining, and I kind of just stopped and I kind of just looked up, and I was just in an extreme moment of gratitude, knowing that this was starting today and that it was raining. I knew it was a good sign. Some of the best things in my life have happened this way. And everyone else was kind of looking at me like I was a weirdo, because I was sitting there like with a big smile on my face as it was pouring rain outside. So, we're going to take time today to go through a few different things. And one of the things that's most important to us, our staff members, and all the other coaches and mentors in this, is that you actually get what you wanted out of this program. Meaning, learning at a seminar, learning in a group coaching program is a learned skill. Now, the reality is most people are never taught this skill, and that's why learning in groups is very challenging. Learning at events is very challenging. It's the same exact thing. So we're going to go through how to get the most out of this program. Just kind of start out with, we have everything planned is in continuity. So whatever we do, I just want to share this with you guys because there are a lot of new faces here. If I tell you that we're going to use a communication plan with our clients, I'm going to give you a communication plan to use. Meaning, this is not a place where you come here to learn something you don't know how to do. Then I tell you what to do and then ask you to now go figure out something you have no idea how to do in the first place. You came here to learn. I see a lot of smiles on people. That sounds like the kind of like the circle wheel of group coaching and learning. So for those of us like Wayne who've been here for a while, he knows that we will deliver everything that we're telling you. So we're going to go through, using data to make money today. And ultimately, how we map all this stuff out, we will give you a sheet where you can add all of your stuff in and do the same. Does that sound good to everybody? Perfect. So let me share my screen and let's get rocking and rolling. So this is one of my favorite quotes. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And for all of you, I feel you all are about to be very lucky because you all will be adequately prepared. Now, what I know is going to happen in this market, because we talked to about 1,000 agents a week, is people are going to freeze. If you don't know what to do, what to say, or you have a scarcity mindset and things are changing, naturally we just start doing this, right? And the challenge in doing that is number one, you're closing yourself off to all opportunities. Number two, there's an opportunity cost to running your business and life, which is far greater than any investment you make, both in time and money. That is the number that we all should have written down that should be driving our decisions, because the cost of doing nothing is the most expensive cost. But the people who are prepared will see opportunities everywhere, and that's where we'll all feel lucky. Now, how do we get the most out of this whole future proof playbook? So let me walk you through doing this. Number one, show up present, right? That means I will literally scroll around and look at people, and I will see people here. It's 30 minutes for yourself. Don't go on your phone. Like, don't do it. If you don't follow me on social media, go follow Chirag Shah Coaching. Look at this Simon Sinek video that I just posted that my brother shared to me about real estate agents. So really open your mind about what this message sends out to people. Number two, have an open mind. I guarantee you, if you're new here, the way that I talk about things is going to be very different on concepts that you might have heard before. Turn on your camera. It's a big thing, right? You're going to come here, turn on your camera so people can see you, and that you could use how neuroassociation works, how your brain connects one thing to another, and ultimately have relationships with other people because they see you all the time. Put your location next to your name, right? So if I look at Ginge Calhoun, New Jersey, but I don't know where in New Jersey. Deanie's in Baltimore, right? So if we look through Dina, she's in a Westchester realtor, right? So does she service all of Westchester? Wayne Miller, San Diego. So get an idea, Antonio Botero, you should put the Hamptons, or where in the Hamptons you have, right? So make sure you put your location. So now your brain, like we talk about that whole neuro association concept. So now my brain could say, you know what, Wayne Miller, San Diego. If I start thinking about a San Diego realtor, I see Wayne on these Zoom sessions several times a week. You won't even realize this subconsciously. Be like, oh, that guy Wayne. Why am I thinking of Wayne? Because you see his face, you see that name, and that's how our brain processes information. Ideally, be in front of your computer. It's 30 minutes at minimum, twice a week, that we're all going to do. Be in front of your computer so you can be present, that you can take notes, and you're not fidgeting around, walking around on your phone if you can avoid it. Now, be ready, willing, and able to take action. I can tell you this from my best clients and the most successful people that learn in all kinds of coaching and programming. If you have not blocked off time in your calendar later in the week to implement what you've learned, you're never going to get the most out of this program or any program or get anything out of it. You need time to implement. Showing up is not enough. If you go to the gym every day, you still need to eat healthy, right? Like the two of them go together. So make sure when you get off the session, action number one, time block time to implement what you learned. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Ultimately, all the growth we want is in discomfort. And the person who is okay with being uncomfortable and taking massive action will be the most successful person you know. So if you look at the end of sports games, right, some people are very uncomfortable to take that last shot. You look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Tom Brady, these people want the ball and they thrive off that discomfort, right? I want all of us to make discomfort their best friend. Now, the next one is join an accountability group. When I walk you through what we've done for accountability groups, this is something completely different than anyone has ever done in real estate training. One, I should be excited because I created this crazy concept, but two, being an agent, I think this is where a lot of the gaps are, right? And we're going to walk you through doing that. About 300 plus of you have already signed up for the groups. And on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, we're going to have a call to introduce the accountability leaders and ultimately what those workshops will look like or what those sessions will look like. So it'll be really interesting to have an idea, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And the next one is connect with your community out of session, right? Because the most important thing is that you guys build relationships with each other. As I always say, great people make great companies, and great communities are made up by great people. There's 215 people on this call. Take the time to go meet people. I always call it my Zoom chat box like the Tinder of real estate training. Go meet people. Put your name out there. Say, who wants to connect? And just take a screenshot of the chat and reach out to people after. Now, here are the 3 challenges in change. This is not for me. Well, let me explain to you where that comes from. Hit yes if you've ever made a promise to yourself and not kept it. Like, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock and go to the gym. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to start this diet tomorrow. I'm going to make my calls tomorrow. Who's ever done that? Okay. So thank you, Antonio, for raising your hand and being honest too, right? So we all have, whether we want to admit it or not. Now, what happens is, I would say the most important promise is the one you make yourself. Why is that? Because of this. If you make promises to yourself and don't keep them, when something new happens, why would you ever think it's for you? If you can't wake up and exercise when you want to exercise, you can't keep an alarm, you can't keep an appointment, this is immediately why when someone offers something new to you, you're like, oh, this isn't for me. That subconsciously is where that comes from. So we all need to get out of it. When we make promises to ourselves, we have to keep them. Because if not, this is the number one challenge in change. Number 2 is, what if it doesn't work? We all go to avoid pain and seek pleasure. But what happens if it does work? And be okay with things not working. I would say the only reason that our company has grown so fast is we've been okay making mistakes. I don't care if it doesn't work, because I know it's not always going to work, because that's part of life. For all of us that have been like OG Compass people for 6-7 years, there's been a lot of things here that have not worked. But that's where the whole learn from reality concept comes from. Now, again, we'll go back to this is uncomfortable. Look, at the end of discomfort is joy, right? So all the things that are comfortable to you are all the things you should probably move on from doing. Comfort is a curse in this business. If you just get comfortable doing the same stuff over and over, you're not growing. You mix up activity for accomplishment. And we can start shifting activities to accomplishments and measuring our success by not being comfortable, not by the activities, but by the accomplishments we do. Your entire business will change. Now, here's today's roadmap. Where to focus your time and money during a market shift, making decisions on facts, not feelings, and simplicity as your new business partner. At the end of today, I'm going to make your entire business so simple. You're going to know exactly where to focus on, exactly where to spend money, exactly what to do. Because this is not a complicated business. Everything in life is simple. People make things complicated. Now, the accountability sessions. I'm going to touch upon this and we'll put the sign-up sheet at the end of the session. If you signed up, you don't have to. We've broken your accountability groups into what I call the real estate triangle. There's, out of what we learned, there are people that are going to want to go deeper in a marketing aspect of it, a technology and tools aspect of it, like at Compass, like how do we use a platform for this stuff? And then the top part is prospecting and role playing. We have different times and 6 different accountability leaders who are all your fellow Compass agents who will volunteer time over the next 6 months to make sure these sessions are there. As a team, we're all meeting on Thursday to figure out exactly what this looks like. Then on Sunday, for those of you signed up, you'll get a list of times and what's going to be done. And it's going to be really easy for you to show up. And the accountability sessions are built for you to do stuff there. It's not like a complain fest or everything else. It's meant for you to take action, right? And for all the people that are team leaders, our executive leadership coach, David Severance, is going to be running a very high-end team leader mastermind. So look out for an invite and really how to run your team like a Fortune 500 company. Now, in life, you can either choose to change this for yourself or have the world choose them for you. I believe we're going to go through the largest shift of market share and clients that real estate's ever seen over the next 6, 12, 18 months. You see companies doing layoffs. You see the way that people are making decisions changing. And you have to remember this curve right here. Every year that goes by, your clients have access to more technology and information that previously only you had. Now is the time to level up, right? So we're going to choose the changes for ourselves, or all those other agents I referred to in the beginning that are like this, they're just going to lose because all of this stuff is changing. Right? I go back to the early 2000s when online leads came out and you had all those great agents that were making a great living that did not believe that this change was happening. And now they don't have business because they never learned how to do it and they didn't choose to change this for themselves. So I want all of us to be on the forefront of doing this. The nice part about signing up for this program is everything that you're going to need for change will be provided to you here. Now it's your choice if you want to choose to participate and actually implement it. Now, we're going to talk about using data to make money. Now, here's my question. How do you currently focus your time and money, right? Do you focus on what you do and what you invest in based on facts or feelings? Drop it in the chat real quick. I'm interested to see. Are you a facts or feelings person? Feelings, both, feelings, a little bit of both, feelings. So look, here's an interesting thing as we all read these answers. The more uncertain you are, the more uncomfortable you are, generally speaking, people start going to their feelings, which is really interesting. Because as soon as everything gets uncertain, you really want to go towards the facts, right? So let's talk about this. And some people say both. Ideally speaking, I'm never telling anyone not to go with their gut because you know your gut's right most of the time. However, in business, you need to go towards facts, right? So number one, this is not anything revolutionary, but you need to understand where your clients are coming from, right? Like where are you making money? But the most important part is what percentage of your GCI comes from each source, right? There are agents that could look at their business and say, well, I get 70% of my business from online leads. So that is their focus, at 70%. But then when you go one step further, you realize, wait a second, this only makes up 25% of my income, but it makes up 90% of my spend. See, those numbers and actions don't align. And if you don't understand the basic fundamentals of your businesses, which is what we want to do today. So everyone write this down before we get to keep it or cut it, right? You want to print out the last 3 months of your business expenses by the end of the week. The last 3 months of your business expenses. Because when I start showing you all these pie charts, before you even write, how do we get access to this? I'm going to give you a form where you can put all your deals in and it'll do it for you. Now, the reason we want to do this is once we understand our business, we want to go through an exercise of keep it or cut it. You can make decisions on facts, not feelings. And this is what all agents do. And we won't have to out ourselves doing this. I'll out myself because I did this a lot. I would go on there and I would spend money on things month after month after month after month. And then I wouldn't use it. And then I would say, you know what? I'm going to get one deal and then I'll make all my money back and then I'll cancel, right? We all have done this in real estate. You get so down in gambling. It's like, don't put good money behind bad money. Sometimes you just have to fold your cards. So there are things that you're going to have to cut. Just cut them and move on. Like does not need to be more thought and process to all this stuff. Just cut it and move on. Right? But if you know where your data is, don't live anymore in this. I'm going to do one deal from this, eventually make all my money back. I've been doing this for 10 years and I know for a fact that all those I'm going to make my money back. Eventually a trigger event happens, you cancel, and you should have canceled many, many months before that. And the other thing is, I want you guys to be CEOs of your business, right? The reason as a team we chose to do this first is this fundamental building block is something that most agents don't have. Right? How do we run businesses that make hundreds of thousands, or some cases, millions of dollars a year? We don't know this. If you're a team leader, you should know exactly for all of your team members, what percentage of their business comes from you, what percentage comes from them, what the sources are, and help them work through it. If you're an agent, how do you not know where your business and what percentage of your income it is? And I'll tell you exactly why, because no one ever told you to think this way. Everyone in real estate is all about shiny pennies. Right? And if you look at us and the way that our philosophy is like, okay, let's think about this systematically. Let's think about this strategically, and let's take a macro view to this, break it down to micro actions, and then teach people how to work less and earn more because they're doing the right things and they're focused. So now let's look at this pie chart, right? Now this is an actual agent's business. And before I go through doing this, I have to share that none of these graphs or anything are my creation. This is not my idea. Kate Bauer is an agent who I coach with, who works with us here. And I asked her one day when I had our first session, I'm like, I need to know, Kate, where all your business comes from and how you spend your money, right? Because where you make money and where you invest money should have a direct correlation. So she shows up with all these pie charts and I started taking pictures of this. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is incredible. And since then, she's created a template for the sheet and shared it with hundreds of people. And it turns out to be the perfect foundation for coaching. So let's take a look at this and start thinking through this together. Past client referrals, 11%. Zillow, 6.5%. Now, past clients, 24, family and friends, 13, website, 6.5, directs from listings, 15, Compass referrals, 15, vendor referrals, 18. Now, this sounds really great, but what am I looking at this as a business coach to realize? Family and friends eventually run out. So that 13% is not predictable or really repeatable. Direct from listings, you can't really predict that either. So almost 30% of this agent's income is coming from family, friends, and direct listings. So I know going forward that, let's see, past clients, 24. Past client referrals, 11. So that's 35. Then I add in agents. I'm at almost 50% there, and vendors, 9%. So 59% of my business, if I was this agent, is coming from clients, direct clients, the people that they know, referrals, and vendors. So I'd want to now go look at the vendor relationships I have and say, how do I get more out of this? What am I doing that works? The Compass agent referrals. Who are these agents? How did I meet them? What happened as a result of that? And now you start analyzing relationships and what you're doing for actual patterns, right? Now, I know that I could always spend more time with our past clients, and we could dial in more events, coffees, teas, lunches, dinners. And this is how you strategically start to think through your business. Now, here's the interesting part. You see Zillow is 6.5% of her leads, right? Like the source. Now look at this. It's only 2.5% of her income. So is that a very easy expense to cut? 100%. When you start looking at these correlations, go back 6.5 to 2.5. Vendor referrals, 8.7, so almost 9%, but it's only 5.4% of income. Do I really want to focus on that? Compass referrals, 15 to 13. That's a good area, right? Past clients, it equals 32% of income, right? So if you look at her actual GCI, 45, 58, 58% comes from past client referrals, past clients, and Compass agents. Is this hit yes or no now? If what I'm saying is making sense, and if you had a pie chart like this, you know exactly where to focus your time, money, and resources. Perfect. So this is what I want everyone to start thinking through. This is now going to be the new fundamental of our business. So if you're looking at this, all those past clients that we ask you to reach out to, where you're like, well, what do I say to these people? Do they want to talk to me? Yes, they want to talk to you. Does this make it easier to time block and do things and stay focused? 100%. And when you're able to be focused like this, you get to cut out all the nonsense, which allows you to put time back in your day. Now, where do you spend money? I want you to start going through at the end of the week, once this is done, patterns on where you spend money, on where you're actually getting a return, because now you'll actually have numbers and metrics to go by. Now, here are 3 ways that you can use data to make more money, right? Now, just remember, there's a direct correlation with what you spend and where your business is coming from. Know where to focus your time and efforts. Now, remember what I said about time blocking, right? If you know where you're making money from and what the greatest return on your time is it easy to focus your time and efforts and where to time block? Absolutely. I see Terrence on here, and his CRM is like a melody for like a song that he's writing. Every last single thing needs to hit, but like, you know, he's a good friend of mine and someone I work with, but we know with his thing, like we need to focus on the pie chart and the areas that really matter, because there's always a sweet spot in that, right? And so when you know where to focus and you have it all dialed in, everything becomes easier. I think the biggest time suck that we all have is being confused on where to go, who do we contact, what do we invest in, what do we do, right? But if you have all the information, you know where to focus, right? Like I see Matt here, and the Matt Breitenbach from the Hamptons. I call Matt's like the mad scientist. He knows that all of his business comes from like actually picking up the phone and just talking to people and sourcing deals. So he'll literally sit on the phone for hours a day, as long as his team does their job, and we'll sit there and literally just call people. He's like, this is where all my business comes from, is contacting people, right? And marketing. But he knows where to focus on, and his team knows where to focus on. So he generates business by doing this, and he has a chart, and he knows very well like what his team is doing, what percentage is his, and that's being the CEO of your business, right? Maximizing your budget by focusing investment on the most valuable areas. The number one area that we all need to invest more money is our past clients. We'll be going through how to reach out to these people, how to create client events, like what do you do on a coffee? What do you do on a breakfast? What do you do on a lunch, a dinner, small get-togethers, large get-togethers? Each one of these have different outcomes, processes, and goals. But if you don't have actual budgets, there's nothing you can do. So we're going to teach you this year on number 1 right now, how to cut your budget and focus money on what gets you the best return. And also how to do annual budget planning when we get to business planning. You know, most agents never have annual budgets going into the following year. And my goal is to make sure that every one of you do, right? So this is the next thing, maximize your dollar. And the third one is create focused marketing that speaks to the client. Now, when we start segmenting this, Kate is going to do a live coaching session with me tomorrow. She's going to share her actual pie chart, and we're going to go through real examples of how to use the data to pull segments into your CRM, send bulk emails, do digital ads. The action part of this, that we're going to do in a live session. So tomorrow, be ready to just have an open mind and be a sponge. Because when we send you the sheet at the end of tomorrow, you can fill in the deals, you can put in the demographics of your clients. And like, look, for all of us that work in suburbs, like kids under 5, if you have kids under 5, even kids under 8, every single weekend, you're looking for something to do with your kids. And if someone could provide you an email every week of like where to bring your children, you'd be so thankful because you wouldn't be roaming around Google and moms groups and other places trying to find it out. But this is how you speak directly to your audience. I want all of us to get out of sending these just general canned emails just to stay top of mind. It is not staying top of mind if you inconvenience somebody and steal time out of their day because they have to delete your junk because I'm in Westport, Connecticut, your open house in Florida, unless you're my client and showing me what you're doing means nothing to me. Why are you sending people stuff that they don't want, need, or even have any reason to read? But when you have focus and you understand who your clients are, what their segment is, and then how to market to them, again, everything changes. You guys see a very redundant theme here today? This is about having ownership and control of your business, your money, and your time. And if we could get those 3 things done after this week, you're in the driver's seat where everyone else is just figuring out, well, where do I go? What do I do? What do I say to my clients? Yeah, we'll get to that, but this needs to come first. Look, the market is changing. There is no way around this. And you all will be prepared for it. It is our sole goal to make sure you have everything you need. We have gone through and literally thought out every single last detail from what these sessions are like to creating handouts, deliverables. We've added 2 new senior team members that can be working directly with all of you, as well as making a community where you could connect with each other, right? So look, when you start thinking about change, I want you guys all to wake up tomorrow and realize this is the best opportunity you'll ever have in your life. Because guess what? If you go back 6 months ago, it's arguable if the Domino's guy couldn't sell the house too, because they're all selling in 60 seconds. This is a skill market that people need great people, right? They need all of you. The world needs you more than ever before. And you need to learn to be okay helping people learn to say no. And I know that's a very hard concept for people. Well, why would I give up a client? No, when a client raises their hand and through natural selection says, you know what, I shouldn't buy a house right now, or I shouldn't sell my house. Number 1, isn't it great just to get your time back? Number 2, gas is really expensive. Number 3, what we're finding with their clients nationally, those agents that are doing that with their clients successfully are getting the best referrals, because those people all know other people that genuinely have to buy. And they'll say, you know what, Matt in Beverly Hills, he's really honest. He actually told me not to buy a house. He explained to me why. I completely understood it, and I'm going to wait. But I was talking to a couple other agents and they just kept trying to push me into it. Do the right thing by people, right? It's like putting that great energy out into the universe. Now, tomorrow's a live coaching session. We want to take the guesswork out of this for you. And for many of us, it's like, okay, how do I fill out this data sheet? What do I do with the data sheet? How do I use it for my marketing? And what does that all really look like? That is what I call the gap. And tomorrow, we're going to show you exactly what the gap is like. Then after tomorrow, the accountability leaders and myself and my team members will meet. We're going to plan out those different triangles for you to go next week to a session and implement what you learned. You'll show up to my sessions. You'll hear a new concept for the first time, right? It's attention, retention, repetition. And then the following week, there'll be accountability sessions in that triangle around it. That will be our rhythm of dancing. So Brooke is going to put the form in the chat, right? So if you signed up, you don't have to. So everyone sign up. And listen, if you have a question, email our community email. I don't know where everything is. People email me and I love talking to people, but my emails are generally slower to get responses to. And I don't actually know all the responses. So we'll give all the times and date and everything else for all these sessions. right? So on Wednesday, if you want more details on what are these sessions like, who are the people leading them, how is this going to work, the days and times, you'll see a calendar invite come out for anyone that signed up for an accountability group for Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have both accountability leaders in the East Coast and West Coast, right? So look, I just want to thank all of you for being here, being present, and being the type of people that want to enrich the lives of others through enriching your own. Look, this is going to be very difficult what we go through in the next 6, 12 to 18 months. Recession, reset, all these other words that freak people out and leave them catatonic. But what I know is when you're in a great group of people and you feel supported, you feel loved, and you know that everyone is in all this together, how are you going to take 500 plus people's brain power, energy, love, contribution, and not come out ahead? There'll be live meetups that people will be hosting. We'll be doing business planning in person. Like there's so many different things. We're going to have an awesome retreat party. So we'll send out a form for whoever's going to the retreat. We're going to throw a big party. So everyone can meet everybody in person. And look, it's our goal for as many of you to have as many relationships with people as possible, right? So look, why don't we all do this? Everyone just give me a wave. So I'm being coached on how I can be better in social media. So I'm going to need all of your help, just a pre-frame on doing this as well. So look, ultimately, as we go forward today, 3 actions you need to take. Number 1, look into your budgets, right? Like understand on how you spend money. Number 2, time block. Like you need to time block for implementation. Number 3, be okay with being uncomfortable, right? Just get used to it. We'll spoon feed you everything that you need to do. You just need to be open to doing it. That's all. Those are the 3 actions we want you to take. So we'll leave this open. If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't happen. Brooke will put the form in again. There is no budget worksheet. I just want you to print out all of your expenses. That's it. Just physically take a look at it. For most of you here, looking at all the money you spend, you're going to have a heart attack, and you have not done it yet because you don't want to know. This is not the time to have plausible deniability. This is the time to face the truth, and it's time to cut all of the crap that you just don't make money out of. So by printing out your expenses, you'll at least have an idea what it is. Then tomorrow we'll give you guys the data sheet. Everything will be uploaded to our platform, right? So that's where all of it is. If you have questions and stuff, post them in there. We will go in there and answer them. So you'll be able to download the data sheet. Tomorrow we'll walk you through what it'll look like, how you can fill it out, and then ultimately how to make decisions off of it. So as always, I like to end every session by saying, with love in my heart, I truly love you all. Thank you all so much for being here. The energy here is unbelievable. And between the 2 sessions, just know we had almost 500 people today. So it's pretty cool. So welcome to the party, and we'll all be in touch with you. And for those of you who signed up for accountability, look for our email, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Bye, everybody.